Hello there and welcome to the Nutmeg on Guardian TV. My name is Solomon Fowowe and it's our last show for the year. It's been incredible presenting this for the large parts of the year. And Dennise returns to us in the studios again for the last part this year again. Yeah. And it's been a pleasure sharing the stage with you. Yeah, has to be said. And what has been your memorable moment, your most memorable moment of 2019?
Our most memorable moment has to be the Africa Cup of Nations, you know, in Egypt, and then seeing the way that Algeria were not just the winners of the competition, but then indeed in the way that the team played, in the way that they did organize themselves. You know, the Belmadi boys really showed the stuff that they were made of, and then, you know, to clinch their second Africa Cup of Nations title. And then one man stands out for me, you know, Riyad Mahrez, you know, Absolutely. See the way that he showed that the responsibility of the team, even though he did not really play, you know, most of the matches for the whole of 90 minutes, but then we really saw the character of a true leader in him. And do not also forget the free kick that he scored against Nigeria.
Has to be my most memorable.
You know, during the semi-final of the competition, you know, in that match, he really showed the champion stuff he's made of. And then the team as a whole, you know, I think they are really deserving of an African champion.
It's incredible that you choose that as your most memorable moment, although we've said that it's in no particular order. But like I was saying, or like I alluded to when you were talking about it, I think my most memorable part in that particular tournament was that free kick by Riyad Mahrez against Nigeria. You know, a whole lot of hearts were broken when that free kick went.
Including yours, right?
Including mine, has to be said. But it's incredible what Algeria did in that particular tournament for 2019. So what's your next most memorable moment?
It has to be the UEFA Champions League, you know, the 2018-2019 season, which I tag as, you know, the Champions League of comebacks. You know, during the quarter-final matches, we did not only see one comeback moment, but then we were blessed with two. So that number one for me was Liverpool versus Barcelona. You know, the first leg, Liverpool traveling, you know, down to the Camp Nou, got whooped 3-0 with by a team that was led by the magisterial Lionel Messi himself, and then returned to Anfield in 2 weeks, and then it was a different old story. You know, the spirit of Istanbul came back alive. Liverpool scored 4 unreplied goals, you know, against the almighty Barcelona, you know, to dump Barcelona out of the UEFA Champions League. And the second one for me was Ajax versus Tottenham Hotspur, you know, saying that Tottenham had visited Ajax Stadium, you know, got beaten, I think 2-0, and then they returned to England. You know, they were not using the Tottenham Stadium, they were using the Wembley Stadium, and then they returned in the first leg. Instead of Tottenham going ahead to score, you know, at least to cut down the deficit, it was Ajax that scored the first goal, and tensions were up. Before you know it, the spirit of Tottenham came back alive. You know, they scored the first goal, scored the second, and then that was how they did qualify, you know, by an aggregate scoreline of 5-4. You know, I think those two matches stood out for me in the UEFA Champions League season. I tag as the comeback season.
Exactly, comeback season. You know, it's incredible, really, especially the one Liverpool against Barcelona. I think that was my most memorable in the UEFA Champions League because Mohamed Salah was actually injured for that particular fixture, the talisman for the Liverpool side, and a white t-shirt that said "Never give up." Liverpool didn't give up.
That was the message to millions of people.
Came in, and you know, it was incredible to watch, and it was just Barcelona.
Origi and you know, outsmarting the home Barcelona defense.
Exactly. For the third most memorable moment, for me, it has to be Megan Rapinoe at the FIFA Women's World Cup. You know, it's incredible what she did in that entire tournament, both on the field and off the field. Don't you think it was magisterial, if I can use your words?
I think what she did during the Women's World Cup, you know, just further tells us or affirms to us that indeed football can be a very great platform, you know, to air any sort of message that you want to, and then protest any sort of cause that you feel is not going your way to actually go your way. Because it was during the Women's World Cup that we're seeing series of campaigns going on in the United States of America. Yeah, you know, for equal pay, equal right, gender equality, you know, and all of these were all centered on one man, you know, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. But then we saw that during the Women's World Cup, you know, she really shouldered the responsibility of the team, not just off the pitch, but then also on the pitch, seeing that she was the joint goal scorer for the competition, and she led that team that blew everyone apart. I could remember the match against Thailand where the United States won by 11 goals to nil.
Was it 11 or 13? I'm not even quite sure.
Yeah, in between that. But then the team actually got out with a record of the highest victory margin in a FIFA tournament.
Yeah, well, incredible. So for the next one, what will that be? That's the memorable moment of 2019.
Another memorable moment has to be Lionel Messi, the magisterial one, you know.
Okay, now you're using that one again.
You know, because right now it just seems like, you know, if we are having any conversation and then Cristiano Ronaldo is out of the conversation, it just seems like it's a Messi's world and we're just living in it. You know, Messi clinching his 6th Ballon d'Or title, you know, to set a record, you know, to set a milestone that has never been done by anyone at all. Although we've seen that before now, he was, you know, he was on, I think he was on 5 Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, it was 5,
you know,
5 for Messi,
five
and Ronaldo.
For Messi and Ronaldo. But then that of this year, you know, just makes him, you know, a notch higher than Cristiano Ronaldo, who is his closest rival. And then aside the Ballon d'Or, you know, you also don't want to fault Lionel Messi in the way that he has really showed out the responsibility out there at the Camp Nou for Barcelona. You know, if you're talking about the decade, Barcelona alone this decade, you know, has won 6 La Liga titles, you know, won 2 Champions League titles, and, you know, the laurels just keep going on. And all of these are also to the credit of Lionel Messi.
So for the final memorable moment of 2019, well, it's not the most memorable in the most positive lights, but it's one thing that is really, really sensitive when it comes to football and politics in general, and we as humans, and that's racism. We saw it rear its ugly head again in 2019, and definitely we are looking for it to be stamped out of football and for it to be kicked out of football. So we saw racism in Serie A, we saw it in the Premier League, and we saw it in a couple of other leagues around the world. So what do you say about that as a memorable moment of 2019?
You know, racism, like you rightly put it, it is certainly not something that is positively, you know, memorable, but then on the negative, from the negative standpoint, you know, seeing that it started, you know, from this area, as far as I can remember, you know, with Moise Kean before he moved from Juventus to the English Premier League. You know, it is, you know, like we continue to say, it is a crime against football, it is a crime against humanity. You know, it was not just in the Syria, it also happened in the English Premier League. You know, in the Premier League match, Chelsea versus Manchester United, we saw racism against Tammy Abraham in the match. And then, you know, we continue to condemn this act, saying that, you know, this sort of demoralizes these guys. And then I also feel that for the fact that anyone bears any color or any race at all, it is certainly not anyone's choice, you know, in the way that you appear. But, you know, we should all appreciate our differences and respect our similarities.
Well, one that was most memorable for me, well, not in a positive light, has to be said, was the one by the Inter Ultras against that Romelu Lukaku. Yeah. It was a bizarre defense of racism for me, because we saw that another team actually racially abused Romelu Lukaku, and the Inter Ultras actually came out saying that it is a form of respect to Romelu Lukaku. It was bizarre.
Yeah, you know, you can continue to say that again and again, and then I think it was a similar situation for Moise Kean, whom I mentioned earlier. You know, while he was at Juventus, and then when the team's captain, that was in the person of Chiellini, you know, was asked on what happened, and then he was outrageously in defense of these racist guys. I think this is certainly one of the moments that I quickly want to forget about the year 2019.
And also the Serie A, in a view to trying to stamp out racism, they also had some sort of program like that it did happen that there was an artwork of monkeys. Yeah,
an artwork that also, you know,
it was absolutely insensitive.
You know, an artwork that also sort of, you know, counter-protest the campaign you're trying to put out there.
Well, it's incredible that these things happen, especially in an age as such as this. Like you said, we have to respect ourselves, we have to respect our opponents, and we have to respect ourselves as human beings. Well, it's been an absolutely pleasurable year. It's been great doing this with you. Obviously, we're going to be doing this again in 2020.
Oh, certainly, God willing, you know, like I said earlier on, continue to say 2019 has been an amazing year. And then if I'm to sum it up in 2 words, you know, it has been exciting and also eventful.
Thank you so much for talking to us on the Nutmeg.
Always a pleasure, Solomon.
So that's all we can take for you this year. Obviously, we're coming back bigger and better in 2020. And if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, what are you doing? You should subscribe already. So many great content from Guardian Nigeria for you. Let us know your most memorable moments for 2019 in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Do you think our list is good enough, or you want to put some other additions to it? Thank you so much for sticking with us for the entirety of 2019. We expect you to be with us for 2020. My name is Solomon Fowowe, and this has been The Nutmeg.